Hello everyone, Linda Stern here with the third edition of John Stern Live at the Stern Family Collection. Today we are going to learn about a California Impressionist artist named Vernon Jay Morse, who lived between 1898 and 1965. Here's John Stern to give you the scoop.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Linda. This is a painting called The Bridge Builders. It's painted in 1926 by Vernon Jay Morse. Morse is a second generation California Impressionist. He was active starting in the early 20s until he died in 1965. He was born back east, but at the age of 2, his parents moved to California and he grew up in the Bay Area. This is a painting of the construction of the Carquinez Bay Bridge. The Carquinez Bay Bridge is the first steel bridge in the Bay Area. It predates the Golden Gate, which was opened in 1938, and it predates the Oakland Bay Bridge, which was opened in 1937. So this is the first time they built a steel bridge. The Carquinez Straits is this little body of water that separates, that you have to cross to get from Oakland to Sacramento. And prior to the construction of the bridge, there was a ferry. And the ferry was obviously discontinued after this bridge was completed. Vernon Morse was a young artist, and when the Depression hit, he found he had very difficult time selling his paintings, so he turned to watercolors and wood engraving, and he really didn't paint many oils after that. He ended up, in his later years, running an antique store in Burbank, California, which is where he died. This painting is not one of these sweet, gentle, lyrical paintings. It's not like, oh, you take it easy, honey, I'll do the driving. This painting engages you and takes you all through the painting because of this dynamic composition. First of all, you see there's a lot of bright colors. There's very deep blues and yellows, there's greens and reds, so it's a lively painting. It's not a painting that relaxes you. And as you come in, you see a group of people working in the foreground, and there's this beautiful line that takes you back here, then you go up here, then you come across, then you go across the bay. So this very dynamic composition takes you through the whole painting, which is what a successful composition will do. It'll take you through the whole painting, and the artist will show you what they want you to see, and that is very clear. So in addition to this perspective, this is done by lines, so it's called linear perspective. There's also the atmospheric perspective, the aerial perspective, which shows that this bridge is the same color all the way through, but it gets softer and softer as it gets farther from where the viewer is. So a combination of this beautiful linear perspective that leads you down there, and the fact that you see that it's far away because the haze is interfering with how the colors show up, combines to make this a very dynamic composition. So the bridge was completed in 1937, and it has since been replaced by a more modern bridge because this original bridge was severely damaged during the earthquake in the 1980s. So Vernon Morse, very little is known about him. He did not paint a lot, but clearly he was a wonderful artist whose career was cut short by the Depression.
I notice there's a lot of complementary pairs in this painting. How did the artist successfully use the orange and blues?
Well, this orange and blues are opposite or complementary. So as you look at it, the blue looks really blue next to the orange, and the orange looks really orange next to the blue. And you see that a lot down here with greens and reds. So there's a lot of bold colors. As I said, this is a dynamic painting, not only in its color, in its composition. And it also shows a group of workers. Now, here, this crane is very severely placed right in the middle of the composition. And then there's a crane on the bridge here, way far in the distance. It's the same color as this crane, but it looks yellow, and there's one way back here. But the line comes right down the middle, and it's almost a pyramidal structure, which is incomplete because there was nothing there. But again, dynamism, lines, bright colors, action, very, very forceful painting, not a gentle landscape like The Barn in the Fog by Sam Hyde-Harris.
Well, it's certainly an interesting piece of art history. That bridge doesn't exist anymore. And back then, they didn't really have all this great color photography. So this artist has really depicted a scene that will last with us that we couldn't see any other way.
Well, you'll have to come to our house to see it.
That's right. But that's exactly what today's plein air painters are doing. They're capturing scenes that probably won't be there in 50 years or 100 years. That's why it's so important to collect this wonderful art. Well, thank you, John Stern, for this very creative description of Vernon Morse. And tune in again for another edition of Fine Art at the Sterns. Thank you.
Thank you.